Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Kathy Antoine. I am a mechanical engineer, and I am very honored to be your MC for this webinar. Welcome to this webinar organized by the Universal Peace Federation. We give a very special welcome to our esteemed panelists. I want to also welcome all the viewers who are joining us online. Thank you for showing your interest in this forum to discuss about the importance of the family under the theme, Strong Families Are the Foundation for Peace and Happiness. The International Day of the Families was established by the United Nations in 1993 and is celebrated every year on the 15th of May. It is a global observance which focuses on the importance of families. The United Nations established this day to highlight the critical role of families, that families play in our society, to raise awareness about issues relating to families and to increase the knowledge of the social, economic, and demographic processes affecting families. The Universal Peace Federation, the organizers of this forum, is a global network of individuals and organizations dedicated to building a world of peace centered on universal spiritual and moral values. We promote interfaith cooperation and mutual understanding based on the principles of interdependence, mutual prosperity, and universally shared value. The UPF recognizes the central importance of the family for a world of prosperity and peace. Two mottos of the UPF Act for today's observance are peace starts at home and the family is the first school of love and peace. You can learn more about us at our website, upf.org. At this time, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Remy Topier, who will give the welcome remarks. Mr. Topier is the director of the Universal Peace Federation in St. Lucia. He is originally from France, but has been living with his family in St. Lucia for 29 years. He has 3 children and 4 grandchildren. One of his main efforts is to strengthen families as an essential way to break the cycle of poverty and reduce violence and criminal behavior. He has conducted numerous workshops for conflict resolution and character education in schools and youth groups. A welcome applause for Remy Topier.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for your nice introduction. So I want to really welcome our panelists, our presenter this evening. I know that even if you want to share your thoughts and insights, you have to prepare for it. So I appreciate that you took the time to do this. I know it's sometimes require a lot of time. So really, thank you very much for taking the time. And we look forward to hear all of you this evening. I want also to welcome all those who are joining us through the online connection. I hope you can have a very interesting evening with us, reflecting on that important topic on the family, the strong families as a foundation for peace and happiness. So many people say that the family is the first institution of humankind, you know. And in fact, in Genesis 1:28, we have this it says, God blessed Adam and Eve, and he told them, be fruitful, multiply, and have dominion over the birds of the air and the fish of the sea and the animals of the earth. Maybe you remember that. So what means really be fruitful? Be fruitful, be fruitful has two meanings. One meaning would be like having many fruit. We would say like having many children, something like that. But already multiply has this kind of idea. So be fruitful has a second meaning, which is more appropriate here. This is meaning of bearing good fruit. Like, when Jesus says, you will know them by their fruit, a good tree bear good fruit. You remember that? Jesus is saying, so he's speaking of people, in fact, you will recognize them by their fruit. If the fruit are good, these people are good. So by looking at the fruit means it's not the number of children. The fruit are what we do, how we express ourselves, what come out of us. If it is good, we can say it's a good person. So that's the meaning of this also, be fruitful. When God told Adam and Eve, be fruitful, it has the meaning improve, becoming mature. So Adam and Eve had to become mature, especially in their love for God, their love for the nature, the animals, the creation, and their love for people. So the founder of the Universal Peace Federation explained that, in fact, this was not just, God did not give that just for Adam and Eve, but for all their descendants. And if Adam and Eve had succeeded to do that, and then next they would have multiplied good children. And then these good children could have been able to grow, to become mature, and have also other good children. And so a world of peace and happiness would have been expanding on the earth. That was like the prototype, how this world of peace and happiness was supposed to come. Of course, we know it did not happen exactly like that, and so that's why today we have many troubles. But still, the family has a very important role to play. And we recognize that the family is important. And not only the family, like mother and father and children, but also like grandchildren, grandparents, parents, and grandchildren. This like vertical dimension. It's also important because this is the place where values and good habits and good tradition can be passed on from generation to generation. So it's also, the family is important for that. And so, I come from France, as Cassie said, and I grew up in a very countryside, a small village on a farm. My parents are farmer, and before also my grandparents were living there. And I want to show you. So now my brother inherited that house, but I want to share to show you beside the kitchen, there is just a moment, sorry. I want to share my screen. Beside the kitchen, there is a door on a closet. There is a closet, and the door of the closet is, I'm going to show it to you. So you see here the door. So you can see on the door, it's written things. Here is too small. So this door is going from the floor to 2 meter 50, like that. And in fact, what is written on it is the size. This recorded the size of my mother and her brother and sister. Here you can see a little bit better. So Françoise here is a younger sister, and Alain was a brother. My mother's name here you say Geneviève. In French, we say Geneviève. So here you can see closer. This, you have the size here, 0.90 m. And here is my mother. So here the date 30, this 1930, my mother, that she was 3 years old. So I don't know if she's maybe 0.85, or I don't know exactly the 580 maybe at that age. And here it's me, Remy. So my parents are, my mother and her brothers and sisters are all registered there. And also here is Remy, it's me. And then here my brother. So here is when I was around 10, something like that. And my brother was maybe around 9, something like that. Sabine is also a sister of my mother. So we have like that, these two generations registered there. And here it's photo is not very clear, but it's written maman. In French, maman means mother, but in reality, it's not my mother. This was my mother's mother. So we have here 3 generations who are registered on the door. The heights, of the people is registered like that. And then this is the inside of that same door. And so my children are registered here. So when they went to my parents, then they will be registered also. Like so, Alienor is my brother's daughter, and Jan is our son, my son. Lena is a second daughter. Jan here again, and then Nina is the first daughter. So this I just wanted to show that because the family, it's important for grandchildren to interact with their grandparents. This is where, and the children can learn many things. This show the importance of somehow the family. So that was just an introduction, and now let's really hear our presenter. Thank you very much once again for being here and taking the time as presenters. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Remy. That was a really touching story. And now we are thoroughly excited to hear from our first panelist, Ulrika. Ulrika Antoine is a 20-year-old with a distinct passion for community and youth development. She was born and raised in the small but vibrant community of Dereso. She serves in the capacity as a youth worker under the Ministry of Education, Youth Development, Sports, and Digital Transformation. Additionally, she serves as the General Secretary of the St. Lucia National Youth Council, where she impacts young people not only in her community, but across the entire island of St. Lucia. When posed with the question, what do you want to achieve in life? She believes that the most important goal is representing the people of Micoud South, not just as their youth worker or youth parliamentarian, but one day as their district representative in the House of Parliament. In her opinion, the only way St. Lucia can become a better place is through its people. She believes we require a civic pride and a strong sense of responsibility toward one another. Our nation cannot truly progress if people focus only on themselves instead of the well-being of their communities. Let us welcome Ulrika Antoine.
Good evening, everyone. Protocols already established. I would first like to extend gratitude to the organizers of this conference, the Universal Peace Federation, for creating spaces where meaningful dialogue can take place. Tonight, this evening, we reflect on the theme, Strong Families are the Foundation for Peace and Happiness. It is a theme many of us, especially within the Caribbean, can relate to deeply. And when we think about family in St. Lucia and across the Caribbean, we think about more than just a household.
I think Erika pushed the wrong button.
Yes, let's just give her a moment.
Let's continue with the next, and let's give time to her enter again.
Okay. Let's introduce our next panelist, Gadisha Donatian. Gadisha Donatian is a passionate.
Oh, she's
Sorry?
back. She's
Oh.
back.
Okay, let's welcome back Alorca.
Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
Thank you. So picking up where I left off, when we think about family in St. Lucia across the Caribbean, we think about more than just a household. We think about grandparents raising grandchildren, neighbors becoming aunties and uncles, mothers sacrificing everything so that their children can succeed, and fathers working long hours to provide, and communities stepping in when families face hardship. Caribbean families have always carried resilience within them. However, before we discuss whether strong families truly create peace and happiness, we must first ask ourselves an important question. What exactly is a strong family? For many generations, influenced by traditional and religious structures, there has been a dominant ideology, the belief that a family must be nuclear, to be strong. The idea that a home with a married mother, a father, and children is the only proper blueprint for peace and stability. There is an argument to be made for this point of view. When a nuclear family functions with love, emotional maturity, and shared responsibility, it provides a stable dual parent economic and emotional safety net. It can easily become that first school of character where children learn conflict resolution and emotional management. But we must also look at the opposite of that ideology. Does a family being nuclear automatically guarantee peace? Absolutely not. We all know of nuclear households that look picture perfect from the outside, but behind closed doors, they are fractured by silence, emotional neglect, or conflict. A rigid insistence that only the nuclear structure is valid can actually create a false sense of security, ignoring the internal health of the home. If we look at our reality, the 2019 UNICEF survey of St. Lucian adolescents dropped a massive truth bomb on us. Only 30% of our adolescents live with both biological parents. That means 70% of our youth are growing up in households that do not fit the traditional nuclear mold. They are living through family separations, navigating single parent households, or being raised by extended families. If we strictly adhere to the idea that only the nuclear family can foster peace, we are essentially telling 70% of our population that they are starting from a deficit. And that is where the counter perspective to our theme comes into play. Some social analysts argue that putting the entire burden of societal peace and happiness onto the family unit is unfair. In a region historically shaped by economic migration, where the infamous term barrel babies were formed, sometimes families are not broken because of lack of love, but because of economic hardship, migration, generational trauma, domestic violence, or social pressures. Across the Caribbean, many parents leave home to work overseas simply to provide a better future for their children. Some households struggle under unemployment, rising living costs, and emotional strain. And so, while families are important, we must also recognize that peace and happiness cannot rest solely on families alone. Governments must create opportunities for young people. Schools must provide safe and nurturing environments. Churches and faith based organizations must continue offering moral guidance and emotional support. NGOs and community groups must help fill the gaps where families may struggle. As a youth worker and youth advocate, I have seen firsthand how mentorship, community programs, both sports and youth organizations can transform lives. Sometimes one caring teacher, one caring coach, one caring youth leader, or community member becomes the support system a young person desperately needs. So, in Caribbean culture, there is this saying that it takes a village to raise a child. I believe this saying perfectly balances tonight's discussion. Strong families matter, but strong communities matter too. Peace is not built only in homes, it is built in schools, churches, workplaces, parliaments, and communities. Happiness is not created only by perfect family structures or strong family structures, but by environments where people feel safe, people feel valued, young people feel supported and hopeful. Therefore, instead of only asking, how can families become stronger, perhaps we should also ask, how can society better support families? How can we make parenting easier? How can we improve mental health support for our young persons? And how can we reduce violence and poverty? Because when families are supported, communities become stronger. And when communities become stronger, nations become peaceful. So does the theme hold true? Yes, but with a caveat. Strong families are the foundation of peace, but only if we broaden our definition of what a family is and if we all play our part in society. And so, if we truly want peace and happiness in our societies, we must commit ourselves not only to strengthening families, but to strengthening humanity itself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Elrica, for your deep reflections on the support systems for families. It's very valid. Thank you. Our next panelist is Samson Wilson. Samson Wilson is currently a police officer. He loves to learn, explore, and understand people. He also loves to read psychology, sociology, and philosophy. His favorite writers are Friedrich Nietzsche and Carl Jung. Samson is very interested in religion and how it influences the way we think. He has read about different religions like Christianity, Buddhism, Taoism, and Hinduism. He was raised as a Seventh-day Adventist, but finds Catholicism most interesting. Notably, with their use of symbolism and critical thinking to understand and interpret their religious beliefs. He aspires to be a psychologist, a lecturer at a university, and a prolific writer. He has written and published a book titled Seeing Yourself as Joseph, a motivational book which uses the biblical story of Joseph in a Jungian manner to depict how we can overcome our challenges. He will soon complete his bachelor's degree in psychology. He deeply believes in having self-respect and honor. He tries his best to maintain balance in life and accept its flow. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Samson Wilson.
Thank you for the kind introduction. I'll not waste any more time but go straight into our presentation. What is the most important part of a building? It may be the walls that are structure and design. It may be the roof which provides shelter from the elements. It may be the materials that make the building, whether it be concrete and steel or wood. But I would argue that it is the foundation. Without a firm and proper foundation, any building would not last hardship and the test of time. We can depict society as a building with various designs based on culture and purpose. However, like all buildings, there are walls, a roof, material, and a foundation. The walls being institutions that are structure, the roof being laws and policies that govern, the material being the people, and the families being the foundation. Our focus for this presentation will be on the foundation of society. What is a foundation? In construction, a foundation is the lowest part of a building, which stabilizes a building and gives it its bearing in the ground. A foundation is dug deep into the ground, so a building would have stability in complex circumstances and not sink under pressure. In a society, families are the fundamental part from which people emerge and where laws and structure is first realized. Families are the place where people incorporate or become adverse to the laws, policies, and institutions of a society. People are taught value systems and ethics that either cause them to be agents of stability or instability. Through the things they learn and the behaviors that are modeled. When the families of a society collectively agree and accept the culture, laws, and policies and institutions, they give a stable and robust foundation. The acceptance and validation of others when people assimilate themselves into a society through acting out proper social behavior taught by their families and find a function in their society gives them meaning and is the starting point for happiness and peace. When someone is competent in their understanding of their society and find a function, whether that be a job, and can facilitate properly different roles such as brother, daughter, father, mother, friend, husband, and or girlfriend to such a degree where they are rewarded with respect, financial stability, and preference, they gain a sense of happiness and fulfillment based on their success and their individual stability as a result of the value system and ethics they've acquired through their family. The acceptance and validation persons obtain from being properly integrated into their society as a result of a robust family can give many individuals motivation, reassurance, hope, and peace. The ease caused by being accepted and validated by society as a result of one's efforts and who they are as a result of their family can grant peace of mind. Families are the building blocks for both society and the people in them. The values and structures that put order to society and the lives of people are derived from families. When people are properly taught according to the customs and structure of the society, then are successfully integrated, gaining a function and properly acting out roles, they become valued and esteemed by the society, which gives them happiness and peace of mind. Thank you for your time, and I hope you all learned something from this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Samson. We really enjoyed your thoughts today. Now it is my pleasure to introduce to you Gadisha Donatian. Gadisha is a passionate individual. She strongly believes in service, leadership, and empowerment. She is currently serving as the Secretary General to Junior Chamber International St. Lucia. Junior Chamber International is a nonprofit organization of young leaders aged 18 to 40 who are engaged and committed to creating impact in their communities. She is also a proud member of Uncommon Girl Ministry, where she serves as the assistant for Uncommon Girls in Science, helping to inspire and support young women in STEM. Additionally, she serves as the administrator for Pathways to Peace, contributing to initiatives that promote unity and positive change. Having recently completed nursing school, she is passionate about combining healthcare, leadership, and community service, thereby making a meaningful impact. She strives to lead with compassion, purpose, and a heart for empowering others. Ladies and gentlemen, Gadisha.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. And protocol has been established with our topic, strong families are the foundation of peace and happiness. If you look at the news on any given day, it's easy to feel like the world is spinning a bit out of control. We talk constantly about global peace, economic stability, and the pursuit of happiness as if there are massive, complex puzzles to be solved in the halls of Parliament or the boardrooms of Wall Street. But today, I want to suggest something much simpler and perhaps much closer to home. The true foundation of peace and happiness isn't built by governments or treaties. It is built at the kitchen table. It is built in the quiet, messy, everyday sanctuary we call the family. As the legendary Mother Teresa once beautifully put it, what can you do to promote world peace? Go home and love your family. At first glance, that sounds almost too simple. What does making sure your kids do their homework or sitting down for dinner together stops world conflict? It does so because the family is the laboratory of human emotion. It is where we learn our very first lessons about how to exist or coexist with other people. If we learn grace at home, we carry grace into the workplace. If we learn forgiveness at home, we carry tolerance into our communities. If we learn unconditional love at home, we don't spend our lives searching for validation in all the wrong places. A strong family acts as an emotional anchor. When the world outside gets stormy, when jobs are lost, when friendships fade, and when personal crises strike, a strong family is the place where you can drop your shield. It is the one place where you do not have to prove your worth because your worth is already given. When I say a strong family, I want to be very clear. I'm not talking about a picture-perfect television sitcom family. A strong family isn't one that never fights. It's one that knows how to reconcile. It's a family that argues over who left the milk out and who forgot to lock the back door, but still shows up at 3 a.m., when the world falls apart. The American author Maya Angelou captured this beautifully when she said, "I sustain myself with the love of family." Notice she didn't say she sustained herself with the perfection of her family. Of herself, but with the perfection of her family, but with the love of it. Strong families are forged in the trenches of everyday life. They are built on the foundations of shared memories, inside jokes, mutual respect, and the profound safety of knowing that somebody has your back. We cannot give the world what we do not possess ourselves. We cannot build a peaceful society out of broken, isolated individuals. We cannot give the world homes that are not filled with warmth or stability. If we do have homes filled with warmth and stability, it creates a profound sense of inner peace and happiness. Peaceful people don't look for fight. Happy, peaceful people build bridges, show empathy to their neighbors, and lift others up. Every time you listen to your partner or your family member after a long day, every time you hug a crying child, every time you choose patience over anger in your own living room, we are performing an act of global diplomacy. You are sending an emotional, secure human being out into the world. As we navigate the demands of modern life, it is incredibly easy to give your best energy to our careers, our social media feeds, and to our external obligations, while leaving only the leftovers for people under our own roof. But at the end of the day, no promotion, no amount of money, and no public accolade can replace the quiet joy of a harmonious home. Let us remember the words of the Chinese philosopher Confucius, who laid out the blueprint for global harmony thousands of years ago. To put the world in order, we must first put the nation in order. To put the nation in order, we must first put the family in order. To put the family in order, we must first cultivate our personal life. We must first set our hearts right. Let's start by setting our hearts right, and let's start at home. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kadisha. Thank you so much for sharing with us your thoughts. It truly mirrors the UPF motto of the family is the school of love and peace. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Dwayne Anthony. Dwayne is currently a nursing student at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, pursuing a career focused on caring for and serving others. Before entering nursing, he served as a correctional officer at the Bordelais Correctional Facility for 16 years. He also proudly represents the nursing department on the Students' Council at Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. His goal is to continuously grow both personally and professionally, excel in his field, and make a positive impact through healthcare, mentorship, and service. He is passionate about contributing to the development of St. Lucia by sharing his knowledge, supporting those in need, and giving back to his community in meaningful ways. A round of applause for Dwayne Anthony.
Yes, good night to all. How's everybody doing? Can everybody hear me? All right. So I would like to thank everyone for taking this opportunity out to come to this event, which is such an important event. And let me start with this question. I would like you to think back to the earliest moment in your life when you felt truly safe, when you felt loved without condition, when the world outside with all of its noise and uncertainty could not reach you. For most of us, that moment did not happen in a police station, neither did it happen in a courtroom. It happened at home, in the arms of a parent or a family member, in the environment where someone cared. That is the power of family. And that is why tonight, with the theme Strong Families Are the Foundation for Peace and Happiness, we gather to speak honestly about what holds a society together and what happens when it falls apart. So first, we will start with the family as a society's first school. We need to know that, therefore, a child enters a classroom, the family is already teaching. They teach anger management, whether to suppress it or explode. It teaches conflict resolution through communication or through violence. It teaches empathy, responsibility, respect, and love. However, how we use these skills, determines whether a society is peaceful or volatile. A child who learns to regulate their emotions at home becomes an adult who can navigate disagreements without resorting to hostility. A child who is shown consistent love and boundaries becomes a citizen who understands both freedom and accountability. The family is, in its truest sense, the first school of character. The next topic will be the reality we must face. We cannot speak about a strong family without acknowledging how fragile our families are today. A 2019 UNICEF survey of adolescents right here in St. Lucia revealed that only 30% of adolescents in our country were living with both biological parents. That means 70%, 7 out of the 10, young people had the experience of some form of separation. We are not speaking of a small group, but we are describing the majority of our young people, many of whom carry emotional wounds from their separations, wounds that are responsible for breaking the ability to trust, to attach, to feel stable, or a world that requests so much from them. This is not a judgment on single parents who often perform extraordinary acts of love, because I'm a total product of them. I came from a single parent family. This is an honest assessment of what family instability does, not just for the individuals caught in it, but to the wider community that received those individuals. It is important to comprehend that when trust is broken early, it is difficult to rebuild, and most times young people spend years reaching in the wrong places for stability. And this is what we call a community in a quiet crisis. Then we move to peace begins at home. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, peace is a state of harmony, security, and calmness characterized by the absence of conflicts, violence, and hostility. This explains that peace is not an external condition, it is an internal one. People who grow up in homes where they are heard, where conflicts are resolved rather than inflicting wounds, where love is conditional and not a performance, as a result, they carry different orientations towards the world. On the other hand, where homes are sites of fear, neglect, and instability, they do not stay with the four walls. They infiltrate the schools, the communities, the courts, and the hospitals. For example, we need to begin asking, what is happening in our homes? Our other topic is, it takes a village and a strategy. Strengthening families is not the work of any single institution. It requires a full collaborative effort, like my past colleagues explained before. The church is for continued spiritual guidance, community, and counseling. We have the schools to partner with parents, but not replace them. We have the governments to enact supportive policies, allowing accessibility to be easy. For example, mental health services, parental leave, and economic support for households that are struggling. Also, the non-governmental organizations should be present to fill in the gaps where the other formal structures cannot reach. We as individuals need to play our part and invest in communities, maybe by males mentoring fatherless boys, females stepping in for motherless daughters, supporting single parents such as the mother and the father, or being ever present for a neighbor who is going through a rough patch in their life. And for this, we get to our final topic, which is a call to action. We may have had the family that we deserve, but it is not your fault. It does not reflect who you are in the future. Neither does it define that. What it does is give you the opportunity to break the cycle of broken families, and it begins with the one who decides the family that I build will not be different. The family that I build will be different and not the same like what I have gone through myself. And that's where change is most likely expected to begin. For those of us who are parents, your consistency matters. Your willingness to repair, your willingness to apologize, to always keep showing up, it matters more than you know. And to all of us, let us not wait on the perfect occasion. We need to start now and build the kind of society that we deserve. Because strong families are not just the foundations for peace and happiness, they are the peace and they are our happiness. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dwayne. We really appreciate your sharing of your thoughts through your wealth of experience. Thank you so much for being here. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce to you Stacy Gilbert. Stacy is a laboratory technician at St. Mary's College with a passion for psychology and solving social issues. She has been and is a part of numerous organizations which help young people, including Youth with a Mission, Kiwanis Amazona, an international volunteer group, and the Faith Baptist Youth Group. She is currently working towards her master's in clinical psychology to become a family and couples counselor. Her dream is to develop an organization to assist children and elderly patients who have been through abuse. I present to you Stacy Gilbert.
Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for having me. And happy International Day of Families. Now, without further ado, I would just like to get into my presentation. It focuses a little bit more on the different aspects that make a strong family and what can be done concerning those aspects. I just want to share my screen. Can everybody see my screen?
We can see your video.
Oh, my video. Hold on. Can y'all see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Let's see. Hold on. Okay. All right. So families are the foundation for peace and happiness. It's just what makes a morally, emotionally, and socially strong family? Intentional connection, shared ethics, safe emotional and physical environments, economic stability. When you are intentional in raising your family with proper moral guidelines, emotional stability, and economic stability, these things are what really builds up the building blocks of society, which is the family. So for morally strong families, the clear ethical framework, when honesty, respect, and responsibility is taught as a unnegotiable value within the family, this creates morally strong families. The spiritual aspects, for example, in St. Lucia, Christianity is the main religion, and the Bible offers many passages and books that outline ethical frameworks. These frameworks can be what the family is based on, and that is what instills proper ethics into not only families, but society as well. Leading by example. The Bible says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So when parents and caregivers not only teach, but model the behaviors they want to see reflected back to them in their children, society becomes a lot more compassionate because you are modeling what you want to see. If you want to see respect, you will have a society that has a culture of respect. If you want to see compassion, you would have a society that has a culture of compassion. Empathy. When we learn or teach each other to consider the feelings of others and to also consider their feelings. I'm sorry, when we are considerate of the feelings of others and we teach others to be considerate of our feelings, we can have a society that is mutually beneficial to us in that way. If there is an imbalance in people being empathetic towards one another, what you have is either some people taking advantage of others who are kind and compassionate, and the kind, compassionate others are, well, they grow to be resentful or they grow to become people-pleasing. And people-pleasing is actually one of the greatest causes of depression, which leads to decline in mental health. How is people-pleasing, something that could lead to depression? Well, you don't actually consider your feelings, you're just considering other people's feelings. So the real you is not being expressed, it's not getting the validation that it needs, it's not getting the love that it needs. And so mental health declines. That is why it's important to teach people to be empathetic, but to also recognize when people are being empathetic to them, because we don't want to raise a generation that just goes into situations that are just draining them, and they're not mutually benefiting in society, and they don't know how to respect others and their feelings and be considerate of their feelings. Equality and security. When it is taught that all races, sexes, and cultures, no matter the status or the class in society, are beings worthy of love, decency, and respect. We create a society where individuals value and appreciate each other. Now that goes without saying. Now let's go to the emotional core. Unconditional love and safety is literally the basis of the foundation for proper mental health and emotional regulation in families. Safe spaces where people are vulnerable, children are vulnerable, are free to be vulnerable, and it's also free of harsh judgment. Basically, environments where you can just be yourself. It helps children, next generations, regulate their emotions and protects their mental health. This is important. When people have effective communication, Actively listening to each other validates our feelings, resolves conflicts, and teaches a whole generation to not only just be passive listeners, but to be actively involved, thereby creating proper social connection, appreciation, and joy. Gratitude and spending time together as a family. Let's the love that you have as a family be physically and visibly felt. And this is important. Why is it important? So that you can develop a proper sense, or we can develop, or the next generation can develop a proper sense of identity, a proper sense of themselves, and high self-esteem, which is important for mental health. The social part, or the social anchor. Having a strong village, strong connectedness. Having a strong village, for example, extended family, good friends, a strong community, really helps weather the bad times. And in the good times, it helps people come together and celebrate not just small achievements, but big achievements. This sense of community is vital in the mental health of a developing people, because it makes them know that they are not alone, no matter how bad the world gets. And this is very important for not only a community or a cultural sense of identity, but for a national sense of identity. So, clear roles and adaptability in the home. Yes, roles are defined, but the family structure is adaptable enough so that when emergencies or illness or different things like that hit, you will be able to be flexible enough to adjust without it causing too much rigidity or whiplash, as you might say. Social responsibility. What does this mean? Your civic duty, tolerance towards people of different viewpoints, and just diversity in general. This is important for diversity in general. How you tolerate people, how you respect them. You may not necessarily agree on one thing or the other, but you know how to exist in the same space without causing friction. And that is important because it's not going to cause, disagreements that could spark bigger social issues. We need to teach each other to be tolerant of each other, even though you don't agree. Differences are where differences in society is what makes a society interesting. It's what makes it stronger. If we're doing something one way for a long while and it needs to improve or get better, the differences that each of us share, or the different viewpoints that we bring to the table, could help potentially improve our situation for the better, or just change things for the better. Interacting with society and the outside world with confidence and respect. When you are very connected with your community, with people, you will obviously, in a way that matters, in a respectful way, in a loving way, you will be able to have a sense of confidence going forward in life and moving through the world. And this is very, very, very important. So let's just talk about what happens when, I just want to focus on the emotional aspect, because this is one of the things that affects all areas of society. It affects your mental health, it affects your social standing, well, not your social standing, but your social connections and everything. If children, people are allowed to grow up in unsafe emotional environments, these environments cause repression and adults to struggle with a sense of emptiness or lack of purpose or feeling dead inside. If you don't have a lack of purpose, you don't know how you fit into society, it could destroy your mental health. That is why safe emotional environments, I will always stress this, is the basis of a healthy and functioning family unit. Deep-seated shame and self-reliance. Whenever we have, or we grew up in, well, people grow up, in environments that are just judgmental and shaming, it could really make them not want to pursue social interactions or social connections in any way, shape, or form. They may rely on themselves more than, they may rely on themselves more than necessary and not really understand how to ask for help. And like I said, this is going to really destroy the social relationship, how you relate to others, how others relate to you aspect of your life. And this is going to create, again, mental health issues because there is a whole host of mental health issues that come with people not finding their place in society. And we have seen this, movies, documentaries, true crime stories, it's everywhere. So difficulty with intimacy and relationships. Again, not having a safe emotional environment, I'm sorry, or not having safe emotional connections modeled can create a discomfort when people see healthy relationships or they have a partner that is healthy or they have friends who are healthy and just want normal closeness and intimacy. They may get confused, they may have discomfort, and that can cause a whole host of issues where we have heard it time and time again, they're looking for love in all the wrong places because what the bad things or the coldness or the bad emotional connections are familiar to them because that is what they grew up in. And that is a cycle that needs to be broken. So that is why I just wanted to focus on a little more on the emotional aspects, but not to keep you all too long. I'm just going to conclude real quick. I'm sorry, how do you stop sharing your screen?
At the top, if you go up toward the top, it should appear with your mouse.
Right. Is everybody seeing my screen or is it just the video?
I'm seeing you. I'm seeing you.
Okay. All right. So just to conclude, I just wanted to say that when, like everybody else has said in their own way, when the physical, economical, emotional, psychological needs of the family are met, it creates a healthy family unit, which creates a healthy society. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stacey. It really stuck with me when you spoke about the personal people pleasing and all of the emotional effects. So thank you so much for your thoughts and your time.
You're most welcome.
Now, last but not least, we have Naisha Barthelemy. Naisha is a proud member of the Twapiton Castries community. She currently serves as a woman police constable within the Royal St. Lucia Police Force. She has also served in various capacities within the Tuapito Youth and Sports Club, as well as at various community and national outreach programs. She holds a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology with a minor in human resource management from the University of the West Indies. Her academic journey has provided her with a deeper understanding of human behavior, communication, and the importance of supportive and effective community programs, particularly in the field of mental health. Additionally, her 6 years of service in law enforcement has allowed her to contribute meaningfully to the safety and well-being of her community. She has she works with the vulnerable persons team, where she focuses on supporting and advocating for individuals who may be at risk, including victims of abuse and other sensitive cases. Through this work, she remains committed to protecting the rights, dignity, and safety of vulnerable persons while serving in her community with professionalism and compassion. I present to you Naisha Barthelme.
Good night, everyone. I am deeply honored to present my reflection on the theme, Strong Families are the Foundation for Peace and Happiness. But I won't keep you too long because our time is fast spent. My reflection focuses on how families impact each individual. But before I begin, I would like to describe the word family. The meaning of family has evolved immensely over time, from older definitions such as a married couple or other group of adult kinfolk who cooperate economically and in the upbringing of children, and all or most of whom share a common dwelling, to more modern definitions such as any group of individuals linked by strong emotional bonds, mutual support, identity, and shared economic responsibilities, regardless of blood and legal ties. In our generation, a family no longer needs to include a married couple, or even a couple, or children to be considered or to constitute a family. The term family has evolved to include everyone and their unique situations. But what remains certain is that the family is the primary institute where values are instilled, relationships are formed, and emotional resilience is learned. Psychologically speaking, an individual's family can significantly impact their emotional well-being and mental health. The family can either have a negative impact on mental health, such as the development of anxiety or depression, or positive impact, such as producing a well-rounded, strong, and resilient member of society. Family members often share psychological experiences, social views, and biases. Families with adequate resources, stronger connections, and healthy bonds tend to express more happiness, stability, and peace. Legally, the institution of family offers an individual a unique set of rights and duties. For example, family members are granted legal rights when a deceased person dies without a will. Married couples have certain rights over estates and properties, and parents have rights over minors to make decisions on their legally, health, or education-wise. The fact that families are bound by law creates a deep sense of security for individuals. The law allows for each family member to be treated fairly, for there to be accountability and personal safety. Health-wise, three factors impact individuals: biological and genetic endowments, financial investments, and behavioral investments, all of which are linked to family. Individuals inherit genetic predispositions from parents. Families invest financially into members' quality of health and provide emotional support. A strong family can provide support through health issues by providing adequate emotional support and a suitable caregiving environment. Without the foundation of a strong family, children grow to be vulnerable, and adults lack this ability to become productive members of society. For example, children of alcoholics exhibit psychopathy at higher rates. Mental issues such as anxiety, depression, and behavioral disorders are more prevalent among these children. The family plays a critical role in a child's future involvement in crime. Weak family management practices such as poor supervision and insufficient limits on behaviors provide greater influence on bad behavior than even peer pressure. Unclear behavioral expectations and lack of discipline also account for behavioral issues. The family presents an integral area of focus for prevention and intervention to reduce risk factors and enhance resilience among adolescents. There is no avoiding that the family provides an integral foundation where individuals learn to become the best versions of themselves. It provides a platform where the adequate skills and techniques can be passed down from older generations to the younger ones. However, if that foundation is disrupted, it will be very difficult for peace and happiness to be a part of any household. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you everyone for sharing today. Remy, you have any closing remarks?
Yes, sure. I really want to thank our panelists, amazing panelists. I think you realize, you know, how each one is complementary. All the different aspects you saw that from different angles, and it's really amazing. Make a wonderful complementary work. That's family is a very important topic because somehow we all know is a central, in a nation. This is where the new citizens are produced, and so if somehow they can be raised well, then we have good citizens and a good nation. So we know it's very important, but there are many challenges. So I appreciate all your insights. That's really wonderful. Thank you for really putting your heart in it. This is very valuable. And so we'll make together with the recording of this session, we'll also try to put your reflection, or at least maybe a summary of your reflection. So if you can, please send me your text so we can put it up like that. Thank you very much, and all the best. Let's meet again sometimes. Okay, I think that's the end then. MC is finished?
Yes, we're finished.
Okay, so thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone. Thank you, Gardisha, to be here. Thank you, Dwayne.
Good night,
Welcome.
everyone.
Good night. Good. Thank you very much for allowing me.
Thank you.